Hi, I'm Tim Wagner, and welcome to another Writing in the Dark video. This time, I thought I would talk a little bit about an aspect of marketing horror fiction. It's on my mind right now because my most recent horror novel from Flame Tree Press, We Will Rise, just came out today. So, of course, I'm doing all kinds of marketing stuff. Um, so, what I thought I'd talk about today is the issue of branding in horror. Um, Branding is one of those buzzwords that came about from business. And, in terms of it comes to business practices and writing, writers have adopted it. But it seems like branding is all business. The idea that you can call yourself an extreme horror writer or a cosmic horror writer, or this counts for any kind of writer, doesn't have to be horror. But it's not just business focus. You can use the concept to kind of assess your artistic DNA or express it. So people know what they're getting, but it also gives you an idea of what direction to focus on. It might sharpen your focus in terms of the kind of thing you write, or if nothing else, it can sharpen your focus in terms of how you connect with an audience, how you find them. Because one of the big parts of marketing is finding the people that want your work. Not everybody likes extreme horror, so you want to try to market to extreme horror fans. You don't want to try to convince people that don't want any kind of blood and guts in their horror that just because they don't like blood and guts doesn't mean they won't love your blood and guts. So branding can help both ways. It's not just in terms of business. It can help in terms of artist, and it helps with a cycle where these things kind of inform each other. So one of the things you can do, if you don't have an idea of a brand for yourself, is you can list 3 words you associate with your writing style, and that may be able to help. Um, so if you have trouble yourself being able to define it, because I do, one of the things you can do is ask a friend, or maybe if you've had any kind of reviews whatsoever, a response to your work from people online, see how they describe it, and maybe look for the most common kind of terms. For instance, many of the reviews for my work will say things like weird, brutal, and dark. I don't think of my work as brutal in any way, shape, or form, but that's how people experience it. And so that can give me an idea of, it might just be like an artistic blind spot I have. So it gives me an idea of a way to communicate about my work, to describe my work that wouldn't ordinarily occur to me. So like I said, weird, brutal, and dark. So when this video is over, or you can pause it and do it right now, try to think of 3 words that describe your writing style. They don't have to be horror related, because it could be action packed. Maybe you have a lot of action, or it could be immersive characterization, things that could apply to any kind of genre. So they don't just necessarily have to be for horror. I think that if you do have a particular genre that you're writing in, it doesn't hurt for at least one of these words to be indicative of that, but they don't all have to be. All right, so something else that you can do is you can create a tagline that describes your brand. A brand lets people know the experience that you're offering, so they can better decide for themselves whether to go ahead and check out your work. Um, so having a tagline can work great. You can use them in lots of places. Your email signature, of course, on your website, social media bios, bio in general on business cards, and you want to make sure that your tagline is like up front and center. If you're not comfortable with promoting yourself, and I'm not, I grew up in the Midwest where you say one nice thing about yourself, it feels like you're bragging, or it's almost evil to brag. Um, but it would be at the top of your website, or it might be on the top of your business card, or it might be the first line of your bio. Um, One of the things that, and again, just like I said before, with a brand, if you can't think of a tagline for yourself, you can look and see if anybody has given reactions to your work, like online or in a review, that might help you build one. You can ask your friends. You can try out different ones on your friends and see which ones they like. Or you could ask on social media, can anybody help me come up with a tagline that might describe my brand? Um, Even make it a contest if you want. Give the winner something, maybe a copy of one of your books or something. So here's some examples from different horror writers. I'll start off with mine. I got mine from a quote from Thomas Monteleone, who described, in a longer blurb that he did, described me as the master of the uniquely strange and disturbing. Now he added the word tale after that, but I just pulled tale out. Master of the uniquely strange and disturbing. My work is cross-genre. It covers all kinds of horror. I can have quiet horror, cosmic horror, character-centered horror, supernatural horror, almost science fiction tinged horror, extreme horror. I love horror, and I put all kinds in my books. But because of that, they're hard to categorize. But so, Master of Uniquely Strange and Disturbing describes the experience really well without having to say, I write a certain kind of horror. It tells you the kind of experience you get from my work. And I didn't make it up. There's nothing wrong with making it up, but it makes me feel better that it came from somewhere else. And on my website, I have Tom's name after it, so you know it's a quote from somebody else, not something I said. But here's some taglines people have, and I'll put links to their websites or like Amazon pages or whatever in the comments, so you can go check them out if you want. So Lisa Morton writes a lot of nonfiction, and she specializes in Halloween. So her tagline is Queen of Halloween, which works really well. Ronald Kelly, his tagline is Southern Fried Horror, describing the kind of reaction he has. You know, it's like comforting. It's Southern, but it's also like, it's entertaining without being pretentious. So Southern Fried does a good job of communicating that. John F.D. Taft calls himself the King of Pain, which is, anytime you do king or queen, it's kind of a, I don't know what the word is. It's a big swing, saying that, but he's not saying he's king of all fiction. He's saying I'm king of pain, which describes the kind of fiction that he has. Plus, it's a really cool title. It almost sounds like something out of a fantasy novel or something, or horror novel, like one of the Cenobites is the King of Pain in Hellraiser. Gabby Triana, she lives down in Florida, and so she says she writes gothic horror with a twist of lime, which works really well to describe the kind of fiction she writes, and again, her experience, the experience we get from her work. Alan Baxter, his tagline is Australia's Master of Literary Darkness, and he got that from, somebody else's quote. So, pretentious to try to call yourself that, but not pretentious to let people know that somebody else thinks that about you. So I think it's a wonderful, wonderful tagline. Apologize if I mispronounce her name, because I've only ever read it. But Nuzo Ono calls herself Queen of African Horror. And that's really good because, again, it's not Queen of Horror overall. It's Queen of a particular kind of horror that she writes. And then if you do these taglines, one of the things about promotion and marketing is that you're pushed a lot of times to say, go hard. Go bold, be big when you market your stuff. And so you'll see people call themselves the next Stephen King. You're not the next Stephen King. There will never be another Stephen King. Stephen King is a once in a millennia phenomenon, probably, in terms of popular writers. And all you do is pale in comparison. And you look silly, if you do something like that. So you do want to be careful in how you do it. But you also don't want to succumb to that Midwestern thing I said earlier, which is where you don't say anything nice about yourself at all. So again, if you want to pause the video and, generate some ideas for some, go right ahead. You can also do it later after the video's done. If you want, you can email me. You can just go to my website, tomwidener.com. There's contacts there. You can email me for feedback on a tagline. I'll be happy to give you my opinion. Or if you post it on social media, you can tag me in it. I'll be happy to go ahead and give you opinion too. Right, so one other thing you can do is write a horror mission statement. So this describes what you want your work to achieve, and that can keep you more focused on what you do. But in this horror statement will probably be some words, some phrases, some concepts that you can use to help you brand, ways to help you find your audience. So you write a few sentences that encapsulate what horror means to you and what you want your fiction to accomplish. So this can help you with finding your audience so you can connect with them more effectively, and it can help you better define your author persona, which is where phrases like the branding, tagline phrase can come from. So here's one I've written for myself. I want to write highly imaginative, unpredictable horror that's rich in bizarre imagery and strange incidents, while also presenting realistic characters. I want to write immersive fiction where readers can experience what characters are thinking and feeling as events progress, and in which their fears and obsessions are manifested in the real world. I want readers to enjoy reading my horror fiction while also having their preconceptions about what horror is challenged. I want to comment on horror tropes as I subvert them, while at the same time celebrating the genre I love so much. So maybe that whole thing might be too long. It's not too long to put on a website where you have like about, or your bio. That could come before your bio, maybe. Um, I got this idea from seeing if you go to like an art exhibition, new art, not old art, and a lot of times there'll be an artist statement about what either their overall kind of approach to work, and I thought that would be really cool to do for as a horror writer, any kind of writer. So you can go ahead and you could put this on your website. You could pull some parts of it out maybe and put into your bio that you might send to editors when they're going to publish a story. Um, Maybe a few lines of it is something that you can pull and put onto your social media. So I got this from my Writing in the Dark workbook. It's one of the exercises in there. So if you think that seems like this is worthwhile to you, you might check the book out and see. So again, I got that. We Will Rise is out. It's a ghost apocalypse. Ghosts start appearing all over the world and start killing people. And people try to survive and find out why are these ghosts doing it, especially ghosts of their loved ones who should be loving them as opposed to wanting their deaths. All right, so like I said, I'll go ahead in the comment section, I will go ahead and put links to the authors that I mentioned, including to my website, so you can just go see mine where I put my tagline. As always, if you have any questions or comments, put them there, like and subscribe. Contact me by email, like I said, if you want me to give you some opinions on a tagline or a branding statement or a mission statement. So that's all for now. Take care. Bye.